Once there was a Mayan boy named Kanal. Kanal lived with his family about 3,000 years ago in an area that is now called the Yucatan Peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land nearly surrounded by water. One day, Kanal was working in a field near the village where his family lived when he saw another Mayan boy come his way. It was his cousin, Pic. Kanal smiled and said, "Hello, how are you?" Pic had been lost in thought. He answered, "Fine, thanks." But he looked unhappy, so Kanal asked, "What's wrong?" Pic said, "My father told me that he is certain there's a hurricane headed this way. He is worried about being able to harvest the maize in our field before the hurricane reaches us." Maize is another word for corn. Maize was the main crop the Maya grew for food 1,000 years ago, as it still is today. Like most plants we grow for food, maize should be picked when the time is right to get it at its best. Kanal knew this, so he understood why Pic was upset. "That's terrible," Kanal said. "Let us go find my father. He will know what to do. He is one of the wisest men in the village." So the two boys started down the dirt path toward their village. As they drew nearer, they saw the houses ahead, each one made of stone. Kanal's younger sister, Ekal, was sitting in front of the house weaving cotton to make a brightly colored garment. When she saw the boys, she smiled. Kanal asked her, "Has father returned from fishing?" "Not yet," said Ekal. "If you are looking for him, he said he would probably try the place where he caught the big fish last week." So the two boys continued on through the village. An old woman smiled and waved them over. "Here's a little something for you boys," she said. She handed them some chicle, fresh from the sapadilla tree, she smiled. Chicle is like chewing gum, and the boys popped some into their mouths, said thank you, and continued on their way. 10 minutes later, they reached the riverbank. A little upstream, Kanal's father, Toon, stood knee-deep in the water, while the other village men were getting out of a canoe. A canoe is a narrow, open boat that is moved through the water with paddles. Toon was strong and very smart, and everyone liked him. Kanal and Pic watched as Toon and the other men dragged a fishing net from the canoe to the shore. The shore is the land at the edge of the river. As the boys hurried forward, Toon and the other men drew the fish in the net onto the riverbank and looked up. "Hello, Pic," he said. "Kanal, what are you doing here?" "Father," Kanal replied, "Uncle believes that a hurricane is headed this way. He's worried about the maize. It could be destroyed if it is not completely harvested before the hurricane hits." Toon listened and then turned to Pic. "My brother can normally tell about these type of things," he said. "We are family. We will all help you pick your corn. Tell your father, Zook, that I will come this afternoon and bring other family members to help." The boys grinned with excitement. "Thank you, Uncle," said Pic. "I will tell my father." He ran off to tell him the news. Kanal looked down and saw that his father had caught many fish. He picked some up and Toon took the rest. Then they headed back to the village. As they came to their village, Toon stopped each time he saw other relatives to ask if they would help harvest the maize for Zook. Everyone agreed to help. Families all depended on each other in their efforts to grow plants, hunt, and fish, and even build or repair one another's homes. Each person knew that when it was his or her turn to ask for help, the extended family would be there. An extended family includes people like aunts, uncles, grandparents, and cousins. By the time Kanal and Toon reached home, everything was arranged. Toon said, "This afternoon, your Uncle Zook will find that he and Pic have all the help they need harvesting the maize. We need to prepare our house for the hurricane." That afternoon, Kanal, Toon, and all their relatives helped Zook and Pick harvest their maize. They all worked late into the evening, and then everyone went back to their houses to get ready for the hurricane. They hoped that the hurricane would not damage their homes, but they would have to wait and see.